Hello and welcome back to our series of interviews with friends and community members from the Cincinnati music scene. Tonight, we are pleased to have with us the editor-in-chief of CincyMusic, Courtney Phenicie. Welcome, Courtney, to the show. It is such a pleasure to have you on because we wouldn't maybe be doing this if you hadn't done what you did.
It's true.
Yeah. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
So, how's it feel? You have done interviews, and now you are the interviewed.
It feels weird.
Is this your favorite interview so far that you've been interviewed?
Starting off with bold questions.
Yeah.
This is my first on-camera interview. I do a lot of email and phoners, but they never see my face, which is usually better.
You don't mail them a picture of your face. Like, just imagine that this is the person asking you questions, and then you can Photoshop other people's faces into it, like amalgamate.
I should send them like a canvas print of somebody else's face and be like, this is who you're speaking to.
This is Bill Murray on a horse. This is who's interviewing you.
Yeah.
CincyMusic has a lot of contests, and I feel like that could be maybe a prize.
Ooh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I'll talk to Ian and Nathan about it.
We're giving you marketing gold.
Thanks.
We are here, right? We're here to help.
This is actually a marketing podcast. That's because we are really good at it.
This whole thing is our pitch for how we can be a part of CincyMusic.
We are already a big part. I mean, every Friday for how long now? It's been months.
It has been. I mean, since April. I'd have to go back and see. I know that our format change was in early July or late June, but before that, I was doing the live streams on there. So it has been a long time, really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, this is like a TV episode, like 20 something, probably maybe more than that.
We need to have anniversary shows, really. We're like divided up into seasons.
So
maybe
30-week anniversary.
Yeah.
We should do seasons. That would be great. We should have a season finale for each one.
Last season on Toothlers of Fang TV.
Yeah, a little recap.
Every episode's a season.
So with CincyMusic, tell me how that started. I'd like to know a little bit about how it started and then grew, because it's huge in Cincinnati as far as like being related to the local events and the national events that are coming through.
We started in January of 2012. It's myself, my brother Ian, and my other brother Nathan. CincyMusic.com actually it was a website for a long time prior, but it was kind of just a website where bands got on and chatted with each other. And then the domain came available, so Nathan bought it. And then Ian has always been in marketing, and he worked at Southgate House, the original one, and now he's at Heritage Bank Center and Niederlander. So he did all that aspect. Nathan did all the coding and developing, and then I signed on as to write and to work with the writers and photographers, and it just kind of went from there.
Yeah, I think that's actually like how we got hooked up with you doing this stuff. It was through our friend Jared, who's been on the show. Twice now, I think, once, twice. But like we've known him for years. But Zach and I met because of him, and we got hooked up with CincyMusic and you by extension through him as well. And he continues to write.
Yeah, Jared's great. He's been writing for us for years.
Yeah. I mean, I remember him writing stuff, like show write-ups and stuff like that for CincyMusic since basically we started the Galaxy CD days.
Mm-hmm.
And so tell me about you coming to music, because you are a music, what did they say? A music lover? That you love music, right? And has that been something you grew up in the Cincinnati scene listening to local bands?
Yeah, I always went to shows growing up. I went to Sudsy's, I went to Top Cats, I went to Mad Hatter, Radio Down, all those places. And I've always been a writer. So when this opportunity came up, it just kind of made sense. I'd never written about music before, but if you love it, it's not really that hard.
Did you study creative writing in college?
I
journalism or
did.
something?
I did it first, but then I had to take too many math classes.
Yep.
So I settled for I have a double major in PR and organizational leadership.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Then.
Neither of those require math.
No, well, just the stats class, but that's it.
I
Mhm.
hear that.
Yeah.
The fewest amount of math classes is the best amount of math classes.
Right.
Midnight Gospel.
I have a question for you. Who was the first band or musician that you interviewed?
I interviewed 2 in one day, right after each other.
Okay.
Group Love and then Imagine Dragons.
Imagine Dragons, really?
That's pretty heavy hitters for the first couple.
I was expecting to hear like bands, like local bands that I remember from like back then. But that's
Classic
cool.
local bands from Cincinnati, Group
Yeah,
Love and Imagine
the
Dragons.
classic ones, yeah.
Yeah, we were easing into the first Bunbury. So I wasn't interviewing many bands at first. And then when we got into the first Bunbury, I was like, oh gosh, I have to interview like 50 bands before June. So I just started interviewing everybody.
So that was like
after-
super crash course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
They weren't like small. That we talked to somebody who saw Imagine Dragons at Mad Hatter, and I can't remember who it was that we talked to recently that saw them. Oh, I'm sorry, it was 21 Pilots. Saw 21 Pilots at Mad Hatter, and it
Yeah.
was like, well, I thought you meant that was like the type of interview that you did, but you mean like,
They were already headlining music
Yeah.
festivals. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
That's really
What was that experience like? Like not having done those sorts of interviews beforehand. And I mean, if I was in that position, I would be certainly intimidated, regardless of if I liked or disliked the bands, because it's like some level of like starstruckness that would happen for me, at least. Be like, oh, like you were a person that has to do this all the time. I am no one that doesn't understand how to do this. So like I would choke the whole time.
Well, I got like 10 questions together. I wrote them all down. It was on the phone, so it makes it easier.
Yeah.
And then luckily they were professionals, so they already have their canned answers ready.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Mhm.
So you just kind of ask a question and they'll talk for 10 minutes. So you just kind of like conversation, you just go with it.
Did you
But
do it as part
I
of like a
love-
junket?
Yeah.
Okay. That makes it a little easier too, because they have like, they know what everyone's going to ask.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they
I
think they know
interviewed
what everyone's going to ask.
Christian from Group Love, and he was in the airport running from one plane to another. So most of the interview was like him cussing, trying to get somewhere. So I was just kind of on the phone, hanging out.
That's
Wow.
great.
Along for the ride.
That's one of those interviews that needs to be audio. You need to have all of those recorded. So you're like, this is the real gotcha moment. Christian from Group Love just cursing up a storm, and you hear the airport behind him, and he's out of breath.
I do record them on an app, so
That's
they're
great.
there.
Deep
Wow.
cuts.
Deep interview cuts.
You need to release a
Yeah.
CincyMusic Deep Cuts vinyl, where it's just a collection of all of the phone interviews you've done over the years.
I don't like to hear my voice. I honestly usually send my file off somewhere to have it transcribed. I'll pay money to not hear my own voice.
Wow.
Well, you're in luck, because we actually hire voice actors to go back through and like reenact all of our interviews for Tooth TV.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad.
No
I
one will have to hear your voice, least of likely of you.
Well, I asked to sound like Ryan Gosling, so I'm looking forward to that.
We hired the cheapest Ryan Gosling impersonator in Cincinnati.
What
He said it was the best.
What does Ryan Gosling even say? Does anybody do a Ryan Gosling impression?
I don't know. I just kind of just said that.
I mean,
I mean, mine's Tony Danza, so like I will say that I would say I'm a silver lining type person, and one of the silver linings of the pandemic and quarantine, if that sounds really privileged to say, but- I mean, I'm sorry about that, but I've had to get used to seeing myself and hearing myself like through these. Thank you for that opportunity, Courtney. That I've had to like look into the mirror of my own voice and appearance and come to terms with like, well, that is how people see you. So I can see behind you, you've got a Southgate House revival poster.
I do.
Oh, tell us. So that looks like that's a topical sort of item. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
it's a great segue.
This is from the last live benefit we did for Southgate House Revival. It was back in July, and Powerhouse made us these posters for the event. But we are doing another one in September 18th and 19th on the CincyMusic Facebook page. And I'm doing it with Cincy Group.
Very nice. And
it's next weekend, a week from
yeah.
today, and then a week from tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be very nice. We are playing that at our set is at 6:30. But who else is on board, if you can recall right off the top of your head?
We got Black Signal, Ricky Nye, Mike Oberst, Old Pitchers, New Pitchers, Wonky Tonk, 500 Miles to Memphis, Veronica Grimm, Reverend Peyton, Big Damn Band.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love them. And Freak Bass is playing.
Awesome.
And then there's a few more to be announced, but they're not confirmed yet.
Yeah.
Great.
So it'd be a great event. And like always, people can donate. There's a Venmo and a PayPal link that people can check in the comments and donate. It goes to the Southgate House Revival, right?
Right.
And yeah. Now, is this in connection? Is this kind of independent of Save Our Stages, or is this a targeted CincyMusic? This is the stage that we are particularly saving.
Yeah, this is particular to the Southgate House.
Okay.
But we do also obviously support Save Our Stages and the We Make events and all of those. But this one is specifically for the Southgate House because we want to make sure that we have this stage to come back to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
It's gonna be a great event next weekend, but beyond that, nobody has a real good idea about when shows proper are going to start up again. Do you have any? I mean, do you, as somebody who's like close to that, talks to venue owners and things and bands, do you have any sense of when people of anything really?
Well, I mean, venues are having like 25% capacity shows now, and then the outside shows are happening at smaller capacities as well. But honestly, I don't think we'll be back to normal until next summer or fall.
Yeah, that is what I have heard. I think originally I hoped for like March, but
yeah, I was hoping for this fall, to be honest.
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
Yes.
When this all started, I was like, "Oh, just please don't let our show be canceled next week." Then it was, please not the next one next month.
Right.
Oh, okay, maybe we can get some shows this summer.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, it's been hard.
How has that been like working, like the primary job at CincyMusic is like interviewing or like aggregating different people that are like volunteers that are interviewing and like submitting things. So like there's an administrative side of it, but you're also doing actual interviews. Like how has that changed for you since the whole pandemic started to happen? Because obviously shows are not happening, but CincyMusic is still engaging with the community and kind of bands and clearly venues and doing things like this. So like how have you had to pivot? How have you pivoted? And like what's different?
Well, there's no shows to preview. Well, there's just a few to preview. So we can do those. But as far as like share reviews, they're not happening. Basically in March, just all the shows started canceling. So we're like, what can we do so people can have an outlet, like a platform to play on, to still make money? You know, we don't want any of this. We want all the musicians to make money off this, or the venues. So we're like, all right, we have this platform, so let's just go from interviewing bands and reviewing concerts to putting on our own and take it from there.
It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like that's definitely the same time that we got involved with this. What kind of buy-in did you see from bands? Like, did you see kind of just like, because at that point it had been about a month and a half into that, and a bunch of bands had like canceled tours or canceled a bunch of shows, like, and we're clearly down. Like a bunch of my friends and bands were that way. So like, did you find kind of immediate, like, yes, we're doing that, kind of this ravenous drive to want to be involved? Like, was it easy to set that up?
It was. A lot of bands want to be involved, but the hard thing is like many of them didn't know the technology. So at first we were like stumbling, trying to use OBS or just log into our Facebook page or Switcher or whatever. And still we can do any of them. Just depends on, what the band has. But we had done a few lives last year with like Noah Smith and Dead Man String Band. So we had done it before. So it wasn't brand new to us, but there's a lot more stuff you can do now.
Mhm.
So, and every day we're learning a little bit more.
Okay, so that's next week is the Southgate House revival. Is there anything else right now that that CincyMusic is working on that we can hear about?
The following weekend, the 25th and 26th, we have the Grasshopper with Grasshopper Juice Records. We're doing the Overcast Hip Hop Festival.
Ooh.
And then in October, what is it? October 3rd, we haven't announced this yet, but we're doing a Get Out to Vote with CincyMusic Live. And we're trying to make it like an old school MTV Rock the Vote like telethon.
Oh, nice.
So we have like bands playing and we have like local celebrities making statements, like telling people where to vote and how to vote.
Cool.
Stuff.
That's awesome. Is that the first time something like that has happened, that has come through CincyMusic like that?
Yeah, we usually try to keep it not political, but
kind of hard to do that right now.
yeah, I just decided it's time. So
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
This time we'll fight fascism. It's good.
yeah.
So you heard it here first. October 3rd, we will have a rock the vote style event on CincyMusic.com. And yeah, so are you comfortable with if we move toward the lightning round here?
I've never been more comfortable in my life.
Courtney, are you ready for the lightning round?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna get my questions up here, and then I will officially. This will be edited out. I will officially introduce it here in a second. Remember, it is
officially edit this out.
I will officially edit this out. Cutting room floor. I had a cutting room put in, and
on the ceiling.
Yeah, I put everything on tape.
It's good for resale.
Yeah, so that it's.
We want that warm tone for the podcast.
Yeah. Okay, so Courtney, I will say this again in a second, but remember, it is classic ands. We're changing them to ors, and you will choose. Okay? All right, Courtney, it is time for the lightning round. This is 5 classic ands that we have turned into ors, and you then have to choose. I don't want to put a ton of pressure on, but guys, can we check the scores? I think
every person we've interviewed has gotten 5 out of 5.
Yeah, so everybody so far is batting 1,000.
There's no pressure, but failure is on the table.
Right.
No pressure, but
what that also means is it's pretty simple.
Well, it's a simple concept.
That's what you think. These bands were sweating.
Yeah, we put them on the hot seat. All right, Courtney, lightning round. Your first lightning round question is smoke or mirrors?
Mirrors.
Wow.
Correct.
Very nice. Correct. Very well
1 out
done.
of 5, 20% of the way
there.
there.
Very confident as well. Okay. Question number 2, skull or crossbones?
Skull.
Well done. Correct. That was a tricky one, but you got it. Excellent job. Question number 3. Don't get overconfident, though. This one's really rough.
Okay.
Soup or salad bar?
Soup.
That's correct.
It is true. Very good. Thank you, John, for keeping track of these.
You're welcome.
That's a really good one.
And number 4, classic, coffee or donuts?
Coffee.
Ooh.
Well done. Well done. Yeah. Okay, last one.
One more. Sorry.
One more, and this is a special one for Courtney. Is of mice or men?
Mice.
That's it. Well done, Courtney. 5 out of 5.
That's a good.
Congratulations. What we need is a wall of fame that we can post maybe right before the lightning rounds go up there of everybody who's gotten 5 out of 5.
I genuinely think you had the most decisive or not the most quickly decisive.
Yeah.
Answers.
You just knew them right away.
It was like a samurai.
Well, I really like soup.
We did send you the answers last week, so like I really like soup.
But Courtney, tell me about your favorite soup.
I like home style chicken noodle, and it has to be Campbell's with Cheez-Its.
Oh, okay. So like
Ooh.
that's a classic one. Do you ever make your own?
There's some pizzazz there though with the Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
I love Cheez-Its. No.
It has to be Campbell's.
Yeah. Okay.
Home
Hey,
style, not homemade.
yeah. I made a homemade tomato soup one time. I mean, I've made it several times, but it's very good. I would urge you to, if you ever get a chance to make your own soup, it's it's an adventure that you can have. A soup
How
adventure.
into soup adjacent foods are you?
I'm
Like
very,
grilled cheese sandwiches.
I'm very into grilled cheese
Oh
sandwiches.
yeah.
Okay, so connected to that homemade tomato soup that Zach was talking about,
Oh yeah.
we created this, just the best invention of all time. It's called a toasted cheese lasagna. It's called toasted cheese because Zach's family is really weird and calls grilled cheese toasted cheese.
You
But-
can look that up, and that's not even a thing.
No,
like
it's not even
just
regional.
we just grew up. It's not like, hey, they grew up
It's
in
super
Cleveland.
regional.
It is one family that calls it toasted cheese.
Household name.
So yeah, toasted cheese lasagna, and it's layers of homemade tomato soup with layers of toasted. You pre-toast the sourdough bread. You butter it, of course, put it in the oven, toast it up, and then you layer that with your cheddar cheese, like your Kraft.
Kraft
shredded
American
cheddar.
singles.
No, it's Kraft shredded cheddar. You could, I mean, I don't eat bacon, but you could put that in there. Maybe
Shouldn't.
like some thinly sliced tomatoes or like some pickled jalapenos in there. Just like bake that. It really, the thing that takes the most is the soup to make that. But
It's
You know,
the
that's
best
something
breakfast
would be
casserole.
really. I make a wonderful cioppino tomatoes, and I think that my recipe would go well. That sounds great, like a great combo.
because you're,
I have videos online. You check out my recipes.
yeah. Well, if you
Well,
go to
send me the link.
the Toothlers of Fang YouTube page is blowing up with Johnny's best recipes, and we are so happy to be able to present those on CincyMusic Facebook page because they're very special to John and his family. And Courtney, thank you so much for allowing us to continue to put out strange content on your brainchild, on something that you've put a lot of work into. We are pleased to be part of it, and we appreciate the things you do for Cincinnati and the music scene so much.
Got any final words? Shout outs?
Anything you'd like to plug?
Qualms?
Queries? Questions?
No, I'm really thankful that you guys do this every week and that all the local bands support us and keep doing these lives. We're going to keep doing these as long as we need to. So just give me a shout and we'll set it up.
Yep, and we will, of course, we will tag CincyMusic in the comments. And if they want to get in touch with you, can they send you a message on Facebook?
Email's better. It's Courtney@CincyMusic.com.
All right, and hopefully there will be some people that want to get in touch about doing some live streams or putting on a virtual show. So, Courtney, thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thank
Been a real
you.
pleasure, and thank you so much.
No, that was
All right.
great.
Well done. I'll edit the soup thing. Maybe that'll be a bumper
Right.
that we can put up
Evolve
tomorrow.
into telling stories about
Yeah.
foods that we've made.
Yeah, we can maybe put that up, and then I'll link Johnny's best recipes next to it or something.
I like the Cheez-It move instead of oyster
Yeah.
crackers.
No,
That's
I'm into
that's like
that.
a tier 2, like
I really
god tier
do like
move.
that too.
I
Cheez-Its
put
are
Cheez-Its
so
in my
good.
meatloaf instead of breadcrumbs.
Instead of meat.
You put what in your meatloaf?
Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its. Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds
So
great.
instead of breadcrumbs, you just crunch them up and then put those in there.
Now, since you're
what kind
such a
of Cheez-Its?
classic,
What kind of Cheez-Its do you use?
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, if you're a classic, like home style only chicken noodle soup, are you a classic Cheez-It, extra toasty Cheez-It? Are you like a white cheddar, or like the duos?
Nope. Just the originals.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
the best.
I like the white cheddar Cheez-Its though.
They're
I
so
gotta be
good.
honest. They are really
I'm so
good.
glad they come in
They're
family size boxes because they're so good.
I always wanted to, you know what we should do? We should have a CincyMusic Cheez-It party when the pandemic is over. And it's like we have a buffet of Cheez-Its, like
Just
every
different types of
kind,
Cheez-Its.
every kind of Cheez-It. And then you can come in and you can have all the Cheez-Its you want, and you can feel like, you know, like you're not gonna get sick from sharing Cheez-Its.
You're not going to get sick from COVID, but you are going to get sick from Cheez-Its.
E. coli from it.
I started a Cheez-It cookbook. Even got permission from Cheez-Its to use their name.
Really?
Yeah, but then
That's
I only came
great.
up with like 5 recipes, and I was like, well, that's not enough. So I stopped.
Well, you know what you could do is start your own YouTube cooking show.
No, what it should do, take the book, take the classic terrible like recipe blog model with like 7 paragraphs of exposition and pointless anecdote, and then like the recipe at the very end, but just take the 5 recipes that you have and just write 2/3 of a full-length cookbook just talking about why you wanted to do this and about your affinity for and love about all things Cheez-It, and then just get to 5 recipes.
Paragraphs about buying the Cheez-Its.
Yeah.
Yes, where you source them.
Painful detail, like locally sourced Cheez-Its.
I only buy them from local stores, not Kroger.
I go to the Kroger because it's next door to my house, but I feel very guilty. Sometimes I
local.
splurge
It's
and go
local.
across town.
Local is relative. It's local to my house.